Welcome everyone to the February 11, 2026 Teen Commission meeting. I now call the meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. Okay, Lindsay, I'll hand it over to you for conducting roll call.
Commissioner Deschma,
Here.
Commissioner Gao, Commissioner Halambi, here. Commissioner Kumar, here. Commissioner Lau, Commissioner Prakash, here. Commissioner Sue, Vice Chair Liu,
Here.
Chair Misra, here. All present with Commissioner Lau absent.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the first item of business, ceremonial matters and presentations. The first item subject is Big Bunny 5K and Kids Fun Run and Spring Community Festivals presentation. And the recommended action is receive a presentation on Big Bunny 5K and Kids Fun Run and Spring Community Festivals from Recreation Coordinator Christina Lopez.
Hello, everyone. So today we're just gonna go over a review of the upcoming events that we have and our festival partners. Our first event is going to be, we'll just kind of briefly explain what the difference between events and festivals are. So events are our city events that are coordinated by city staff directly, and then our festivals are organized by nonprofit organizations that we partner with, but they do use our city facilities and parks, and they are basically supported by city staff to make sure that they follow all of our policies and procedures. So a lot of our city events are open to the public, and most of them are free, but there are some paid events as well. So those include Big Bunny, Cupertino Campout, Monster Mash, Breakfast with Santa, Pooch Punch, Signing Santa, and Sweetheart Social. And the free events include our summer concerts in the park, movies in the park that are held in August, July 4th celebration, our tree lighting event, Earth Day, and then another free event that is coordinated by Public Works is Bike Fest. Some of the teen events that are hosted by Youth Activity Board that you may or may not be familiar with, Spelling Bee, Pizza and Politics, our Teen Resource Fair, Cupertino Cafe, Movie Nights, which one is coming up, Kickoff, an end of year event, and a speaker series. Some of our other program level events that we have throughout the year are Hidden Treasures, held at the Senior Center, Movies at the Senior Center, our Health Expo, also at the Senior Center, birthday bashes that are monthly, Disco at Dusk, which is an intergenerational, so for all ages to come and attend, preschool Mother's Day tea and socials, and golf tournaments. So the festival organizers, they apply in January for festivals following the fiscal year. So some of the festivals that we've had are Egg Hunt, Holy, Cherry Blossom, Kids and Fun Festival, Rotary Silicon Valley Fall Fest, Indian Heritage Festival, Diwali Festival, Dilly Hot, and our Ikebana Flower Show. So we do have volunteers now, part of our REV program, which is the Recreation Event Volunteers Program. Basically, it is a one-day teen volunteer program that we have a system where we assign certain volunteers to certain events that may be of interest, or maybe they want to expand their experience with, but they consistently come to our events, and it kind of helps us put on all these wonderful things for the community.
And also, if you could add in about Big Bunny.
So Big Bunny is our 5K and Kids Fun Run. So we have 5K, all ages usually participate in that. Our Kids Fun Run is for ages up to 8 years old. So that one is around a couple laps around Library Field by the library. And then our 5K is a route starting by the library, but it goes throughout the street of Cupertino. And we have usually quite a bit of people. Currently signed up is about over 300 people. So a lot of people like to get out and explore the streets of Cupertino, bring your families. This year we have a couple of different things happening, but hopefully the rain does not deter people from coming out. But it is usually in March throughout the year. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah.
I will now open it up to the commissioners for asking any clarifying questions on the presentation, and we're doing something new this meeting. I'll call on each commissioner and ask if you have any questions. So I can go this way. Commissioner Gao, do you have any clarifying questions?
Not any so far.
Okay, Commissioner Kumar.
Yeah, so I think thank you so much for the presentation. You definitely cover like a wide, diverse amount of events. I was wondering, I noticed you host like golf tournaments, so obviously there's like a lot of other sports that teens are really engaged in, like for example in my school, like volleyball or basketball. So I was wondering like why you chose specifically golf tournaments. Is it just more of an accessible thing, or was there like a more specific target audience for that?
I think just because of our golf course, we have a coordinator that oversees that facility, I guess it's a facility. And so she kind of coordinates those events throughout the year, and it's a little easier for her to access resources, staffing. So we don't have, essentially, we don't have like gyms or those types of facilities available for other sports, but it's definitely something to consider with what we do have available for the future. So something to bring up like throughout the year, of trying to figure out how it can apply to different sports.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Dishuk.
The questions.
Okay, Commissioner Prakash. Vice Chair Liu.
On the intergenerational event, I'm curious in past years, how many teens attend the event?
I'm not quite sure if they have the number of teens or if they calculate adult teen kids. But it is open for all. That specific event, Disco at Dusk, is the headphones, you listening to a certain music, they have different activities. And is pretty attended across the board, but I don't know if we have the exact number of teens.
Okay.
Commissioner Alambi.
I was just wondering if you guys considered doing a pickleball event, because I know you have the pickleball courts in here.
I will not speak on behalf of the sports center, but I think pickleball is a possibly controversial topic. And so I'm not sure if they have approached that tournament yet or thought about it yet. Just because the courts are pretty new to Cupertino, and in the sense of they haven't been around long enough to maybe establish something as big as that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Su. Okay, I have just a couple of questions. I'm wondering, so as you said, the festivals are like different from the events. How do these nonprofits sign up or like get approved? And do they like reach out to you, or do you reach out to them?
So there's a lengthy process. They have to submit quite a bit of documents to me to be considered. And they have to provide a handful of things. So that could be a cultural aspect, a recreational aspect, educational aspect of the festival. We kind of review what the festival entails, what resources they want to use in the city, whether it's staff, facilities. We have to run through that with numbers, budget, to see what would the cost be to support these events. And then ultimately, once they do get approved, then they kind of have a different process to execute more documents that they submit to me. And then the planning stages happen of like what time they can enter the park, what time they have to clean up, what their advertising looks like. So there's a couple different aspects, but it does take about 6 months of getting their application to being fully approved and ready to go to basically execute their event.
Okay, and who is it like Parks and Recreation reviewing all these applications?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm wondering for the Big Bunny 5K, I know there's like a lot of age categories, especially when they like give out prizes and things like that. Which categories are the most popular for those ones and which ones are there?
Um, I don't know if there is a necessarily popular one. I know that um the kids run is pretty popular in the sense that they have a lot of fun. And so if you guys were running the 5K and your younger sibling wanted to do the fun run, then you guys can do it the same day. So it's, I think, more family oriented to bring the whole family out to do, there's something for everyone.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Those were all of my questions. Thank you so much. Are there any more questions from the commissioners? Okay, if there are no more questions, I will now open public comment on this item. Lindsay, do we have any speaker cards or hands raised on Zoom for this item?
You have no speakers shared.
Okay, seeing no speakers, I will close public comment. Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much for the presentation. We'll move on to the next item, but before that, thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to the second item. Subject is golf events and Earth Day Festival presentation. And recommended action is receive a presentation on upcoming golf events and the Earth Day Festival from Recreation Coordinator Kayla Nakamoto.
Give me one sec, Kayla. Okay. All right. All right. Well, good evening, team commissioners. For those of you that I did not get to present to last year, my name's Kayla Nakamoto, and I am one of the recreation coordinators in the Parks and Recreation Department. One of the things that I oversee as part of my role is the Blackberry Farm Golf Course, hence the golf events. And then I will also be talking about Earth and Arbor Day Festival that is coming up in April. Next slide. Thank you. All right, so tonight my goal is to share a couple of upcoming golf events that I'm hoping to share with the Teen Commission in hopes to gain some feedback of what your thoughts are. The two events that I'm presenting tonight are going to be completely new events for the golf course. So the first one that's coming up is a foot golf tournament. This is going to be held on Saturday, May 2nd. These events are fee-based, and so you can register. This is, there is a youth rate and an adult rate. I can share those details if you'd like. If not, it's on the website. But the intent of having a foot golf tournament was to try something new. And we are hoping that the use of a soccer ball and the bigger holes will encourage people who are in our community that might not be traditional golfers, or who might be a little bit intimidated by it because they don't have their own set of golf clubs. So this is a fun way to get hopefully a wider range of our community out onto the golf course. And this will be a tournament style, and it'll be an evening event. So we're going to try something new. And then the second one is not quite ready for registration. Registration will be available in April, so you're getting kind of a preview. But this is going to be an intergenerational golf tournament. So more of a traditional golf tournament. It is golf. The intent of our intergenerational golf tournament is going to be, there's a little spin on it. So we have some creative, in partnership with our senior center recreation coordinator, Chris, we are working to create a way for the less experienced golfers to be able to compete and still have a good time. The goal, there's going to be extra points, if you will, given to each of the teams that can combine 3 different generations or 4 if possible. And so just creative ways like that. And then at each hole, there will also be a special way to get ahead of the game, whether it's trivia from different generations or I don't want to give away too much. Things like that, that are less traditional things you'd see at a golf course, for a golf tournament. This one is also going to be fee-based. There will be a youth rate and an adult rate. So again, I guess the goal for both of these events is to kind of broaden our offerings and encourage people of all generations to come out and all abilities. And so I would love to hear feedback at the end, if you guys have any, at the end of my presentation, if you have any. All right, next slide. Okay, so how can you get involved? I think somebody mentioned earlier at the end of Christina's presentation, that they were involved with their school or club sports. So my hope and my ask is that you help us share the outreach. We don't quite yet have everything up for the intergenerational golf tournament, but you can direct people to our website. That has the basic information. Otherwise, people can also register online like they would for our normal activities, which would be regforrec.org. Or you can contact me directly if you have any questions, and I'd be happy to chat offline or send you any information you might need. All right, next. Okay, so the second thing that I'm here for is our Earth and Arbor Day Festival. So this event used to be run by our Public Works Department, and last year we transitioned. This year we will officially be, the Parks and Recreation Department will be officially putting it on, but it is a large effort and a large event, and so it goes without saying that it is a citywide supported event. Our Public Works team will still be involved, but it will be mainly housed out of the Parks and Recreation Department. So I wanted to share, this year it's going to be on Saturday, April 4th. Same time as it was last year, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It will be held at the Civic Center Plaza. So slightly different from Library Field, but right in the same general vicinity. And so on the next slide, I have my call to action or ways that you guys can all get involved. Last year we had our wonderful event MCs that I'm hoping we might be able to have another couple of teen MCs for the event. If you'd be interested, a script would be provided. We can record your volunteer hours. And if you are interested, if you can let Sonia know, maybe Sonia can connect me and you guys separately. And then we also have a slight change in our day of volunteers. So we are currently seeking volunteers for 3 different shifts. We have a 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. shift, a 10 to 2 p.m. shift, and then a 1 to 5 p.m. shift. The goal was to have these overlap a little bit so we could have designated breaks and also an opportunity for all the shifts to see a well-rounded version of the festival. And so if you are interested or you have classmates who might be interested, the deadline to register is March 25th. The sooner the better. That is also available online. And there is a mandatory volunteer meeting on March 25th. So you can find all that information on the city's website. I also, last but not least, I wanted to share we are taking vendor registration. That does close in a little less than a month. So if you have any groups, uh, like tabling partners that would be interested in participating again this year, feel free to have them contact me directly. Sonia can share my contact information. Or if you need more information, you can reach out to me. And that's all. Does anyone have any questions or feedback?
I just add a comment. So as far as the MCs, then Mr. Kaufman has already been in touch with people and we're making some decisions on MCs for you, Kayla. So sorry, I didn't have that passed along to you. But we're working on MCs for you. We already have
Perfect.
process.
Yeah, great. For questions, thank you so much for the presentation. Again, I'll open it up to the commissioners for any clarifying questions on the presentation. Commissioner Gao?
I have more so a comment than a question. About foot golf, I noticed it is on May 2nd. Just speaking as a team here, I think the date is a little like conflicting because the APs are about to be like the next 2 weeks. And so, I think like maybe if it could be moved to a later date, like maybe early June, it could help improve like attendance rates from teens or something like that. Um, yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kumar?
Yeah, so I know you briefly mentioned this, but when it comes to golf, have you considered like hosting any of like the official high school competitions? Because I know a lot of my friends are on like the golf team and they go to a bunch of competitions. So maybe if you guys would consider hosting them, or if you guys like, how are the current ones that you may be hosting going?
Sorry, it cut out a little bit. Were you suggesting connecting with the golf teams?
Yeah, like connecting with the golf teams within like the local high schools, perhaps. Like just as a suggestion.
It's a great suggestion. I was gonna say I am 1 year into my role here in Cupertino, so I am building my connections and I would love to build more. So if you do know anyone on the golf team, feel free to send them my way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Deshmukh?
Yeah, so I guess on the topic of the football golf, like intergenerational tournaments, like as a community, what are we trying to build with those two? Like I understand like with the international one, intergenerational ones, are you supposed to like bring out families and then with the folk golf one, you're trying to like sort of break the ice on both for a lot of the community, but like all put together, what is like the general purpose of these two things?
What is the general purpose would be um programming at the golf course. So, my goal as the coordinator that oversees our golf course and all the programming that goes on out there is to come up with to try new things to see how we can continue the sport of golf. And so, as I'm sure is obvious to you guys, it is by continuing the sport and whether that's getting buy-in from our youth. We also participate or partner with Youth on Course. So any of you youth golfers probably are aware of that, but it's to get the community out into the golf course. That's one of my main goals. And two, to just get people outside and participating in our rec programs.
Thank you. Commissioner Prakash?
Um, first of all, I just want to say that foot golf sounds like a really good way to go to golfing. Like, sounds really nice. And then I have one question. Like, on your slide about Arbor Day, You said the event was gonna be zero waste. I was kind of curious about how you're making it zero waste.
That's a great question. So I was gonna say, and maybe Sonia or Birgit can weigh in if you have anything else to add from being here beyond my year. But one of the ways is that we partner with Sparkle Reusables. And so the food truck vendors any don't have any waste. They are by partnering with Sparkle Reusables, it's all reusables. And so if I order a pizza, it's dished out on a plate. And then that gets returned to our waste station where they collect all of those reusables.
Lulu?
Yeah, I was just gonna wonder about past attendance for Earth and Arbor Day, like roughly how many people attend? Like how many like stands, organizations, booths, help me count those?
Last year, and I apologize, I don't know this off the top of my head, but it was just under 100. And I believe on average it has been between 85 and 100 different tabling vendors.
Any other questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, Commissioner Lambi?
I was just wondering what sort of vendors usually participate in Earth and Arbor Day, and like, would there be like a possibility for school clubs to maybe mark like,
Sorry, can you repeat the last part of your question? You want to
I was just wondering, like, could school clubs possibly like use this event as an opportunity to market?
Yes, if it fits within Earth and Arbor Day Festival's mission, which you can find on the city's website. But there's a tabling partner guide, that is a multi-page guide, and it gives all sorts of details. It breaks down the fees that are set for tabling partners or vendors, the registration process, what all that entails and what to expect for the event. And if you have any questions, you can email me directly, or the fastest way would probably be to email the Earth Day email, which is on that vendor packet. So if you go to our main website, so cupertino.gov/Earth Day, and you'll find all the information you need there.
Commissioner Sue?
I was just wondering what day is Earth and Arbor?
It'll be on Saturday, April 4th this year.
Thank you. Great. I think most of what I was gonna ask has been asked already. I just have one question. What was the youth rate for the golf event?
Youth rate is 14 if you are a Cupertino resident, or 17 if you're not a Cupertino resident.
Is that lower than the adult rate?
It is, just barely. The adult rate is 18 if you're a resident, or 22.
Okay, thank you. Also, I agree with Commissioner Prakash that foot golf sounds like a really fun event that I think a lot of my friends would be interested in going. It's just that the timing would probably not allow a lot of people to take that time out of their schedules in early May. But I think if there's any promotional material for either of these events that you have or you're going to have, if you would like, you could maybe share it with us and we can work on getting it out as much as we can. It would depend on what the school's guidelines are for advertising like outside events, but we can I'm sure we can connect our golf teams with them, and yeah, if you can send that over.
That would be great. I will make sure that Sonia gets those.
Great, thank you. And yeah, I think we can all work with like connecting with our golf teams and school clubs. I think those were the two things I heard. But if there's anything else, any other organizations that you guys know, maybe like the FUHSD Climate Collective, I'm sure you can email Ms. Nakamoto about them. Yeah. That's all from me. Are there any other questions from the commission? Okay. There are no more
Thank you.
questions. Thank you.
Okay, still open public.
If now that there's no more questions, I'll open public comment on this item. Lindsay, do we have any speaker cards or hands raised?
We have no speakers, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, I'll close public comment. Okay, any additional comments from the commission? Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll move on to the next item of business on the agenda. Number 3, subject is Safe Routes to School Working Group. Recommended action is receive a presentation on the Safe School Working Group from Safe Routes to School Coordinator, Birgit Werner.
Thank you, Team for having me here tonight and letting me explain what we do and some data I have for you. I hope some of you know what Safe Routes to School is. I hope others of you have run into some of our events. Whether it's an educational event when you were in elementary or middle school, or whether it's, getting your bike repaired at one of the Dr. Bikes, or even just getting a donut on one of the Don't Drive for Donut days. I hope you've run into us. Mission statements are great in that they very succinctly say a whole lot of things. So I'd like to bring you our mission statement, which is to create a safer environment for Cupertino students and families to travel to and from school actively. And actively means pretty much everything but a car, right? That kind of sums up where our focus is. Next slide. If you think about it, though, that's not something that lives in one department on one desk, right? That's something that touches a lot of different things. And the national partnership kind of came up with this framework of 7 E's to kind of help organize all those different things that it touches. Everything from engineering, there's actually streets matter, right? Whether the traffic light has a bike sign, or whether there's a crosswalk where you need it when you're walking across the street to the 7-Eleven, right? The engineering part of the streets matter. That's part of it. Education matters. People need to know how to use those streets, and they need to know that a helmet on your head is really important in saving your life when you have a crash. So things like that matter. Encouragement and engagement, these two to me always kind of blend together. There's a subtle difference, but getting people to try new things, right? Do something different. Get out of your car and see what it's like to walk to school one day. Is it fun or is it not fun? That type of thing. We do have equity as part of it. It can be, luckily Cupertino doesn't have too much of this, which is good. But it can be harder to walk from across the train tracks or the other side of the highway than it can to walk from a neighborhood, right? Also, this covers things like if you're in a wheelchair, it's going to be a lot harder for you to walk to school, especially if you live up on the hill and you're trying to not be in a runaway wheelchair on your way down to school. Enforcement is a part of it, right? We don't rely on the police to do all of our work for us, but they definitely help us, right? And the SROs at schools are also a fabulous partner for us. And then there's also an evaluation component, which comes down to how well are we doing? And that's part of what I wanted to show you tonight. Last year when I was here, when you listened to me before, I kind of went more into detail with all the settings. But tonight I'd kind of like to go over just this one evaluation piece. Slide, thank you. Hopefully, all of you in your classes last fall, the last week in October or the first week in November, your teachers asked you at the beginning of a tutorial, how did you get to school today? Did you walk? Did you bike? Did you bus? Right? And how do you plan to go home tonight? Every teacher in all of Cupertino hopefully participates. And so we get a picture of how all Cupertino students get to school. It's only a snapshot, it's true, but we've been taking this snapshot for 10 years now. So it gives us a really good idea of what's going on in the city and what trends we have. We can look at the data on a citywide level, and if you're interested, that's published on our website, and I presented it at our Safe Routes meeting. To me, that one's not so interesting because it's an aggregate and it hides all the fun details. So I like to look at it in more detail, like at the school level. what's going on. If you look at this chart, the light blue on the bottom is how many people are walking. The reddish color is biking or scootering, or like one wheels, or like all the wheeled human powered things. School bus, which you don't have a whole lot of in Cupertino. Carpooling is that, okay, it's in the middle, it's that cyan color that doesn't look very different on the screen, so I apologize, but you can tell that it's in the middle there. Transit is the VTA, bus is the primary one in Cupertino. If somebody were to take the Caltran, that would fall into this category too. And then that dark blue, that navy color is a family car, right? So that's one kid in one car, whether you're driving yourself, whether your parents driving you, or you're Ubering or you're SV hoppering, right? One kid in one car. The reason I like to look at this graph is my mission is active transportation. And so it's everything but the Navy. Right, so if you look at this graph, it shows me really clearly the navy blue is where I still have work to do and where I can still get better. And everything else is the sum total of all my active transportation. So you can see which schools do better than others. So it's interesting. If you go to the next slide, since I'm talking to the teen commission, I figured I would show you a breakdown of the high schools in specific. This is super interesting to me. It's, as you guys all know, because you're all rivals and partners in FUHSD, all the schools are different, right? And your school commute choices aren't any different. They're different too. So Monte Vista is the walking school. Homestead is the transit school, which makes total sense, right? They're sitting right on the bus line. Why wouldn't it be the transit school? And then Homestead High School, no, this is the transit school, and Cupertino High is the bike school, right? And that doesn't mean everybody bikes, that just means the larger percentage of them do. So I find that super interesting. It also allows us to target education and encouragement events at those schools, knowing what's going on. Should we go to the next slide? We can also look at the data other ways. It doesn't have to be by school. So if we look at it by grade, okay, sometimes you look at data and you go, duh, of course. Kind of like this one, right? Which one of you is going to tell me you turn 16 and you get that driver's license and your parents let you use the family car? You're going to drive, right? It's just too cool. Yeah, I'm going to lose you. You biked for 10 years for me and now you're driving. Guess what? The data shows me that. So it's not very surprising, but it is in some sense a validation, right? It shows me that the survey is doing what its job is, and it shows me like my intuition is correct. Next slide. Day of the week is interesting. Friday, more kids drive. This probably makes sense, right? You're leaving school and you're going somewhere, or you're doing something for the weekend. So that's not super surprising either. It's also a fairly small effect. So it's not like tons more kids are driving on Friday, right? It's just a little bit. The one that's more pronounced is the next slide. This one's interesting. This has come out just since COVID. This was pre-COVID. This never happened. But since COVID, we think what's happening is parents are going back to the office and they're dropping students off on their way to school. But then when you're coming home at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, your parents aren't done yet, right? They can't leave school to come pick you up. So you have to find another way home, whether that's walking home with your friends or carpooling with your friends, or maybe you do take the bus just on the way home. And that trend shows up very strongly. That's citywide and all schools, all grades. So it's very interesting to us to see that happening, because that means that even if people aren't thinking about walking or biking to school, at least you're thinking about walking and biking and carpooling as a way to get around. Like it's an option for you, which is a huge win for me and my program. So I think there's, yes. The response rate, this is something we've been working on a long time. So this is the number of teachers who participate in our survey. And when you look at it, everything in elementary school, when you think about it, is really easy, right? It's a small little school and the principal knows everybody, right? You remember the principal knew your name and when you were in 2nd grade, right? Definitely, and knew you on sight. So the principal kind of takes care of us and makes sure that all the teachers participate. But as you get into the older grades, the teachers don't all know you, the principal doesn't know everybody, it gets harder and harder, you get busier and busier, you have lots of things to do in tutorial now, right? It's not just like one thing, you're not just drawing pictures anymore, you're studying for your AP tests and you're like taking your SATs and you're doing all this other stuff. So what we notice, as you can see, is that the teachers in high school have a very low participation rate. And I've been working with my team to try and get that up, but I would welcome any feedback from you afterwards or after this meeting if you want on how do you think we could do so that we can get more response rate from the teachers? How can we make this more interesting to the students and teachers to help us gather this data? That's one question for you later. And then another way that you can participate. All right. Perfect. Yes. He's good at this. Is in my Safe Routes to School meeting, I have 2 representatives from each of the Cupertino high schools from Cupertino High, Homestead High, and Monte Vista High. And they sit as part of my Safe Routes to School working group and help do very similar things to what you're doing here, right? They tell me the opinions of the student population, right? Because let's face it, I'm old. My opinions don't really matter to school students anymore. So your opinions matter to us. The things you can do, we also have a grant program. These 2 people at each school are granted $500 each year to do something in your school safe routes related. That's how you get the doctor bikes and the don't drive for donuts. Chair Misra has been sitting on our program for the last 2 years, 3 years. 2?
10th, 11th, so this is the
3
third
years.
year, yeah.
And she's done some really nice things at Cupertino High. And unfortunately, we're losing 3 people this year. They're graduating seniors. And I'm super excited that they're going off and doing the next chapter of their lives. But it leaves me with 3 really big holes to fill. So that is my second ask of you tonight, is that you help me publicize that we're looking for these people. Our applications are due the Monday after winter break. So you have all of winter break to fill them out and get me the information. And then hopefully I will be able to find 3 people to fill the really big shoes that I'm losing. So I think that's my last slide. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Birgit, for the presentation. I'll now open it up to commissioners for any clarifying questions on the presentation. And just as a reminder, I think you were asking one of the things you were asking about was the response rate and the travel tally collection.
Yes.
So if you have anything to offer on that, this would be a great time. Commissioner Gao?
So for the graphs with the I noticed there was like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then there's a column called mixed age. What exactly does that column represent?
So a lot of your classes are not just one grade, right? It's a mixed grade. And it's not fair to ask the teachers to say, who's walking today? Okay, so of the 5 people who have their hands up, which ones of you are 9th graders and which ones are 10th graders? So we don't try to do that. We just lump it all together and call it a mixed grade. And so that's why you have that 5th column.
Commissioner Kumar?
Yeah, so I had a quick question and then also a few comments. So you mentioned that especially when it comes to older grades, a lot of the teachers choose to like pass out. So what exactly is like the mandate for asking these questions? Is it like an open-ended thing, like schools can choose to do so or not, or teachers can choose to do so or not? Like, what's the system to like enforcing this rule?
Problem is there is no real enforcement. Like I can't give anybody a ticket for not doing this and I can't, dock their pay. The teachers union would be rather upset. So it really is voluntary. I try to make it clear that it's important to us and that the data is important and we do our very best to keep it as quick and easy as possible. But that is part of the question, right? How do you incentivize somebody to do something optional?
Okay, and then thank you so much for the presentation. Actually, one of my sisters was one of the representatives at Monte Vista High School, so I've been pretty familiar with the program.
Your sister?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Hi. So something that like an idea for maybe just spreading that awareness and education, maybe such representatives from each school could like go around and make presentations to classrooms or have like morning announcements, for example, because like so for some schools it's like a video that everyone has to watch a certain period, or it's like every week there's some sort of like speaker announcements. So maybe putting that out there, putting out how the recent application that's due, I think February 23rd. Yeah, like because a lot of students obviously they love having such leadership opportunities. So having more of like the FUHSD schools or any of the schools like promote that this is an opportunity to apply. So yeah.
Do you as team commissioners have channels to promote that for me, or is that not acceptable? Like if I got you the flyer, could you put that out? Would that be awesome?
Commissioner Deshmukh?
Yeah, question two. I noticed in the data across all 12 grades that like as you approach the territory of like middle school and high school, there was like a noticeable drop off in the number of carpools and like, but also like comparatively a growth in the number of bikes. So my question is like, in terms of a form of active transport, do we prefer like more students biking or more carpooling?
I mean, formally, what I should be going for is biking because it's active transportation and carpooling isn't technically active transportation, but at the very least, it's multiple kids in a car. So in that sense, it's better than one kid in one car. But yes, biking is the ultimate goal, biking and walking. And I don't know why people would prefer biking over carpool. I mean, I know why one family would, but I don't know why that trend that we've been seeing that trend lately, and I don't know what's driving it.
Commissioner Prakash?
Yeah, you were asking like how to get more of a response rate from higher grades. Like it's not necessarily an answer, but just like something I wanted to point out. Like in elementary school, like at least in the school I went to, if you like or rolled to school like on a bike, then if enough people in your class did, then like you would get something called like the golden shoe for like, and it was sort of like a prize for your class. And I think it like gave everybody in the class a sort of prestige. But like I'm in middle school, right? And like we don't have a kind of system for that. But like sometimes like if a class walks a certain amount, or if a grade walks a certain amount enough, then sometimes we get released early to lunch, but it just doesn't happen as frequently as it needs to for it to be like a lasting incentive.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we're at a certain extent, we're dependent on the schools participating in this because I can't go into a school and tell the teachers, hey, you will hold a golden sneaker competition or you will release this class early. So we look for champions at every school to kind of help do this. So if you have suggestions for your school, I'm more than happy to work with them and see what we can do.
Yeah, couple questions about the graphs. Notice the decline proportion of people responding in high school and elementary. In terms of pure numbers, is that also a significant decline, or is it just a decline in proportions?
That is a good question. That graph though is number of teachers responding. And yes, the number of teachers at high school is higher, so I see what you're saying, but it is also like, we don't get if you look at it the other way, the response rate is low.
Okay, got it. And then for the when you're gathering information, is it like a form or is it teachers ask students to like raise your for each type of transportation?
So the teachers have a form, but the usual way is the teacher will ask in class, hey, how many people walked this morning? Raise your hand, and then they'll count hands and write that down. I have tried asking the students to fill out their own form, and that is usually a complete disaster. So
When you say fill out their own form, it's like you give them a link and then they fill it in.
exactly. So you could fill out your own, and usually the response rate on that is so poor, it's not worth doing.
Is it like a free response or multiple choice?
That one is a multiple choice, right? Did you walk? Did you bike? Like, there are only so many choices. You have to pick one of them.
When you say it was a disaster, is it like not good response rates or just like very skewed data?
So I got very few responses in general, and then a lot of those responses were obviously joke answers. So it just completely threw the data.
Bombi?
My suggestion would have been to do the Google Forms because I know that we have required tutorials where we are like required to complete a Google form before we are allowed to leave the next certain classes. But I know like what you said with like the Google Form responses. So I understand.
I'll have to look into that. So. Yeah, if the school requires you to do a form, and how do they?
They put it as like an assignment on our like school achievements. So we have to- Otherwise they'll be able to check.
Okay, thank you. I'll look into that.
So in terms of like who we talk to, I was wondering if it's possible for you to talk to the ASB groups of like every school, because I feel like it was an event that they could help with. If like ASB would be able to turn like kind of like this informational meeting to something fun for the students to come and then.
I'd be more than happy to come talk to the various ASB groups. I am a little bit hampered. It's a really cool trend at high schools that the administration all wants you, the students, to have your own agency and to do your own thing and to be in control, which is awesome. But it means that I, as an outside adult, cannot come in and give you stuff. You have to ask me to come in, and then I can. So that's part of having the high school representatives. They're my key in, and they can ask me to come. So if there's any presentation like that or any experience that you want somebody to come in and talk about safe routes, or if you have an issue of safety at your school and you want somebody to come in and do some safety discussions, we're more than happy to help. But as I said, we need to be invited.
I have not that many questions or feedback because I usually end up giving them at the actual Safe Routes to School meeting, which by the way is right before this one every
Yeah.
month, if anyone would like to attend. I think we've discussed the issue of travel tallies very extensively over the past 3 years, and we have seen, I think at least for Cupertino High, a bit
Yes.
of an increase in the response rate, but it is it's very easy to like sort of, for me at least, get like used to the low response rate, because it's like kind of been that way and it's hard to change. But given that we did end up changing it a little bit, and hearing like fresher ideas about it other than just let's give the teachers like a Twix for having completed their thing. I think this would be super useful. So if commissioners have more ideas on how they can have those channels, as you said, it would be really helpful to Safe Routes to School. Yeah, I don't have any other questions or comments from myself. Uh, thank you. Yeah, I'm, any other comments or, sorry, questions from the commission? Okay, probably. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I don't have like that much info on the polls themselves because I don't go to a Cupertino high school. But like around what time of the school year are like polls usually given?
Travel tallies?
Yeah.
They're typically I run them in the fall. They're supposed to be in early October, and mine are usually a little bit late because of Bike Fest. So by the time I get myself organized, they're usually at the end of October. I try to get them in before it rains. And it is a poll that's done nationally, so you can compare our data with schools all over.
I had one quick comment. Just, what day is the application due for the high school reps? I know it's
It's
the
Monday night.
Monday night. Okay. So I know, for my school at least, a lot of times with things like our yearbook or our school magazine, and even clubs, people contact teachers. Go and like have like 2 minutes of the class time to advertise these applications. If possible, I know there's only 2 days left before the thing. Maybe one of the ways we could get the word out is by asking some of our teachers, like if there's any promotional materials or flyers about the application that we could like show them up in class or just put them up in general. That could be one thing that we could do to get the word out about the application.
I wonder what if is it possible to like move the day of like the poll, because I feel like October's like into the school, so at that time like a lot of teachers like are signing out of work, So I feel like maybe moving it like a little bit more ahead, if that would like increase a little bit.
How much further or how much earlier would it have to be? So the thing is, you need to get far enough in the school year that people have a routine established. So I can't do it the first 2 weeks of school. That puts me into September. Is that better than the end of October, do you think?
Sure, but I feel like maybe, but I'm not sure.
I was actually thinking the exact opposite. Like if you put it at the end of the school year, like after all the pressure of the APs and tests are over.
Ah.
But I don't know how like that will affect others.
Yep, I'm a little bit reluctant to go that far because there is also, if we also count bikes every month at each of the FUHSD schools, so you can see a trend. It doesn't tell me anything about walking, but it tells me about biking, and you see a definite year-long trend. And so staying in the fall is important so that I can correlate it to the last 10 years worth of data. But I see your point that like if we were starting up new, the end of the year might have been the better option there.
Or like I was might be able to like have like two polls, like one in the fall, so you can continue that correlation, and maybe one in the end of the school year if to see if like the response rates increase. If
Oh, just do it 1 year to see. That would be interesting. I could look into that. Thank you.
Press, did you have something to share? Okay, okay. By the way, you don't have to raise your hands, you can just say it. Are there any more questions from the commission? Comments? Okay, if there's no more questions, I will now open up public comment on this item. Lindsay, do we have any speaker cards or hands raised?
Yeah, no speakers, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, I'll now close public comment. Are there any last comments on this presentation from the commission? Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Birgit.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to the next item in the agenda. This subject is approval of minutes, January 14, 2026, and the recommended action is review and approve the minutes from the teen commission.
We have a fourth presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I missed the figure. It's my bad. Sorry for the confusion.
Present up here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right, awesome.
Okay. My bad. The subject is actually youth-led organization, cybersecurity and AI club. Recommended action is receive a presentation from youth-led organization, cybersecurity and AI club for Teen Commission Highlight Program.
Pass it over to you. Can I just interject that that we had been approached as staff, and we're approached quite often to partner with some youth organizations. And Mr. Kaufman, our teen coordinator, and this is kind of a first time that we've asked a group that maybe doesn't fit exactly into our youth highlight program. But we want to also use it as a way to sort of get information and sort of vet organizations to see if they have a topic that's something that we have an interest, that we've already shown an interest in having, like maybe part of a speaker series or doing a workshop. So this is a process for Mr. Kaufman to also sort of vet the organization. So just wanted to give that before you have your presentation.
All right, I'm Henry, I'm one of Zara, and we're gonna present to you guys about the youth-led cybersecurity and basically talking about. Yeah, so what is YLCA? So YLCA is a global youth-led initiative that empowers the next generation of cybersecurity and AI leaders through hands-on workshops, mentorships from industry experts to build a safer and more responsible digital. So we started by me and Henry, and we try to train and empower teams on cybersecurity and AI. And we do this by providing hands-on workshops, leadership opportunities, and role requirements. We do this hands-on training. Basically, we have workshops with these students that we have in our ambassador program. And we tell them about the safeties, how to stay safe basically in the digital world. We have activities like how to strengthen your password, how to keep your information safe, posting less on social media, and keeping your digital profile more clean. You can go against that. Yeah, so this is about me. So I'm a high school junior at St. Francis High School in Mountain View, California.
And yeah, I lead our school cybersecurity AI club, and I work as a student researcher at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign.
Right, so I want to give an introduction to a bit of our executive board. Obviously, there's me, Henry, and I am the Bay Area chapter lead. So I'm going to be running multiple different workshops around the local area, including Cupertino, Mountain View, Los Gatos, Los Altos, Palo Alto, all sorts of local areas. We also have me Barwaj, who's going to be our director of communications. We have Prashiv Aurora, who's our director of operations in Delhi in India. And we also have Vidika Jain, who is our Delhi region lead. Right. So whether surprisingly or not, 25% of youth and Gen Z kids are getting having issues with cybersecurity online. They're getting their accounts hacked or they're getting scammed purchasing things, which is obviously a huge issue. Our mission as the YLCA is to essentially eradicate this issue by teaching kids with our workshops on how to avoid these sort of issues online and how to have extremely good cybersecurity, to not get accounts hacked or anything like that. Right now, we have a lot of global reach going on. Obviously, we're working here in America and in India. We're planning on expanding to other countries, and we really want to reach as many people as we possibly can to get rid of this issue. Go to the next slide.
Yeah, so basically it's our impact on Cupertino. So we posted a 6-day Cupertino-based cybersecurity AI sessions. This happened both online and in person, like the Cupertino library. This happens with students in middle schools, like middle schools like High, Miller, and other high schools like that. So our second goal is family awareness, and we plan to host more parent community sessions. We plan to do this with the support of the city center with our partnership. And our third goal is a youth leadership pipeline and Cupertino ambassadors. Basically, our ambassador program is we have students at schools in, for example, we have these students then present at their school and get more and try to teach the students themselves about cybersecurity. So we'll give them a set of slides or information on what to present. Very little effort from the students itself, because we give them like a base of what to do at their school. And our fourth goal is to launch a guided manual, like I was saying. So that's basically the book that I wrote, and we had that for local schools and communities that they use to present at their schools. Yeah, that's what started. So our local impact reflects a growing movement of youth-led change, cybersecurity and awareness. We've reached over 2,700 students globally. We've trained over 50 ambassadors, which give presentations at their schools itself. And we have 3 corporate partnerships, and we've tried to turn awareness into action. So through hands-on learning, through hands-on sessions, peer learning, and real-world digital safety and education, this initiative empowers students to become more responsible digital citizens and future cyber leaders. So this impact is not just in numbers, but it's a mindset shift towards a safer, smarter, and more secure digital experience. This is our website over here. We have more of our staff and we have more of our talks, and that's what we can find. Go to the next slide.
Right, we're currently running 45 to 60 minute workshops with students on how to stay safe online and have good cybersecurity. We go over all sorts of things like interactive demos, email scams, password testing. We also go over the usage of AI, whether it's ethical and when to use it and when not to use it. As well as that, we're trying to spread to as many people as we possibly can. We have ambassador programs for people who want to work with us to run workshops for other kids to spread the word about cybersecurity and AI. As well as that, we also run a handful of community global events where you can learn cybersecurity basics, AI responsibility and usage, and you can also practice teaching other students, obviously, with our ambassador leadership program.
Yeah, so what makes us different? So we're trusted youth-led cybersecurity and platform, which is founded by us and is for other students. So we have community impact, outreach, and education, and leadership all in one model. And to help to do that, we're talking to more students so that they can join our join YLCA as well. They can interact with other students and teach more about cybersecurity, which is an important topic for the slide. So we have a skill chapter model that I was saying. It can be replicated across schools and communities, in which we train our YLCA ambassadors on how to give these talks at their schools so they can reach even more students that we can for ourselves. And we're mentored by industry advisors and experts that connect student energy, professional guidance. So like for me myself, I wasn't really sure about what cybersecurity as a future meant, like as a job that I would do. So this is why we have professional guidance that actually shows like what an actual job in this field would look like. And that's what we're trying to do when we have industry experts coming and talk to our ambassadors. So we also have action focused workshops with real world demos, hands-on scenarios, and just take home signatures.
Right now, our global presence is, like I said, in America and India. But more specifically, in America, we're in Cupertino, Mountain View, Sunnyvale, obviously all in California. Meanwhile, in India, we're in Punjab, Dharaman, Simla, Sangla, Mumbai, New Delhi, Bangalore, and also East Bay and New Jersey in next slide, please.
Yeah, but that's basically about us. And what we're trying to do today is we're trying to talk to more. We have it at our school in Mountain View. We haven't really talked to schools in Cupertino. I've talked to a couple of my friends at the public schools, and they told us that there's not really a big focus on this type of field. This is why we're trying to get more connection with these schools, and this is why.
Our main request though is for help and collaboration with hosting more events and meetings with more students, especially in Cupertino, to hear about our business and well, our nonprofit and to learn more about cybersecurity. We'd also like it if you guys could maybe spread like a good word for us in schools to let kids know how to stay safe online, and obviously that they can join any of our workshops anytime.
Yeah, basically,
Are there any questions?
Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm going to open it up to the commissioners for clarifying questions, and I think a better structure for this is not to call on people because this is a more like.
Yeah, I think I would say that's true. And Ashley, if I could have you both come over here, you can pull the chairs away, but then.
Sit down, the chairs.
Yep.
You don't have to sit if you would like though.
I'll sit.
You can sit.
Thank you.
And then just pull right up to the table and go that way. And then you'll be. That's perfect. Thank you.
Great, perfect. So everyone, if you have any questions, start asking the two people we have here.
Just questions and comments or just questions right now?
Should be questions first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned how like 25% of youths have run into like cybersecurity issues. I was wondering like how you got that data, and also if there's like any more detailed portions, like maybe how many middle schoolers or high schoolers have had that issue.
For that data, we actually found it through more vague sources online, although we did go and make sure that it was viable. We haven't really done a show of hands or asked more locally, but that was a more general amount.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are these workshops mainly targeted towards the youth, or have you also considered like reaching out to maybe adults or even elders? Because I know like one really prominent issue is that like a lot of teens like we're pretty like tech savvy, but I know like my mom or even like my grandparents, they're very like unsure with technology. They're not as like experienced with that. So I just wanted to wonder if you considered reaching out to that demographic, or is this specifically towards the youth?
I haven't really thought about that, like as a whole, looking toward the young generation, but we look towards more of like, the younger, because we know like nowadays, most of the future is not gonna be online and digital. That's why we started this sport like the youth, but that's a good suggestion, looking into like those that don't know actually how to like use the device or something, and they really like trap like a trap, right? It's like scammers that want to like, yeah, that would be something that we could look into.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good point. Obviously, we're mainly targeting youth, but we would be completely open to targeting elderly and other people that have the same issues with cyber. We would really happy for that.
I have a couple of questions. I was first wondering, you guys talked a lot about how you do workshops and that's a main method of outreach. Am I getting that right? Okay, perfect. I'm wondering what the average workshop looks like for your program.
So the average workshop for us would look like we talked about our master program, because we're like a new thing that started recently, like, half a year ago. we first talk about what we do, our program and stuff, and then we host like some activities, like what I was saying, we had like a password strengthening like session. We had like we have this like AI, we have this online checker that checks like how strong the password is and stuff, like how long the computer would take to crack that. We have one of those. We give talks about like what I was saying about not using like public Wi-Fi when doing important transactions or stuff like that. So we basically just try to teach someone how to keep their digital life safe and secure. Basically, that's what happens in these workshops. But our main goal from these workshops is to get more ambassadors, basically that they would also give these talks to themselves at their schools. That's basically how the workshops.
Okay, and just piggybacking off of that for one more question, what does the ambassador training entail? Because I think I heard you guys train ambassadors as well, and also how are these ambassadors selected?
So I can probably answer that.
Oh, talk about ambassador selection, I'll do how they're taught.
Okay, you can go.
So our ambassadors are taught by a handbook we've created, and it basically goes through all the things that they'll need to know and all the things that they need to present and talk about, as well as links to slideshows that we're doing, so that they can present like we've presented to you guys, about how cybersecurity works and about how to use AI properly. But it should be all in the handbook. So it's very easy to understand and it's very easy to pick up new ambassadors. And the rest of the question off the
Yeah,
part.
I'd like to add like the ambassador program that we have like builds a global connection between these leaders in cybersecurity and AI. So that like one student, like let's say at Homestead High School, like they'll build like not build, they have like a slideshow they have that has like some points about like let's say like a session. They can then someone like a student at Cupertino High that wants to join but doesn't know what to do, they take that from the Homestead student and we could use that at their school. So that's basically what the ambassador program is now like. It builds a global like network between these ambassadors so that they can easily use it and get onto their school. And how the ambassadors are selected is that at workshops, they can always you also email us and then we have like something out of schools like where we have like we have a lot of interest. We have like some sort of like something small test or quiz about what we talked about. And the students that are really interested are made ambassadors. Let's join our ambassadors like that.
So it's like a quiz sort of thing based on the.
Small quiz based on the amount of interest we have in like
Okay, and okay, yeah, I'll come back to my other questions.
I had a question. So like, when you mentioned like the number of students that you were able to like bring your services to, like, what does like getting the workshop to one student indicate in terms of like 2,700 students? So like, what does one student being reached out to mean specifically?
I think it's just enough total attendees that we have in our workshop itself, so that's how we decided on, that's what we do that.
You mentioned that you had like some, 3 corporate partnerships, so I was wondering sort of like what is their role in it? Is it like funding and like, grants and donations, or like how exactly have you collaborated with them in your workshops?
Yeah, so our club at school, we did an internship or an internship program with Element Systems, which is a local parent company. And what we did was basically now, because they can fund, they funded basically our program, and that's basically what they're doing.
We're also working with Microsoft and Google. We have a few mentors in the community that have decided to help and reach out to also present and be an ambassador, which is awesome, actually.
So, I was wondering, like, in your workshops, like, talk about, like, the, like, practicing and, like, the, live demos and stuff, right? Do you really focus on, like, scams, or is it, like, also, like, malware, viruses and stuff like that?
Mostly focus on, most focus on scams as well. We also have something about your digital footprint as well. We teach students like not to like whatever they're post, like whatever they post will stay online, and to make sure like they don't like do something, they don't post something stupid of themselves, do something like that's not really like look good, because like once it's there, it's always gonna be. But that's we have to just like teach these students that they have to be careful about what they do online, and that's basically.
Going off of that, I think the digital footprint education makes a lot of sense for this age group. I'm wondering why the focus on scams for this one, because I know the general perception is that the younger demographic isn't as susceptible. Is there like a particular reason why you're trying to maybe combat this myth or go for this particular thing?
I would say because obviously, the further into the future we get, the more involved we're gonna be with technology and the more important accounts are gonna be, passwords are gonna be, AI is gonna be, it's the future. So if you don't have cybersecurity and you don't know what you're doing, it can have like a huge cost. You could lose a lot of your money. You can buy something you don't want to. People can access your bank account. It could be disastrous. So we think it's very valuable to teach youth for the future how to keep safe online, how to avoid scams, and also how to have really good security, like two-factor authentication and really strong passwords. So I think it's a necessity.
And I just want to add, like, based on personal experience, like for myself, like, I also like give like examples of my house. Like my sister, she wanted to get like concert tickets, and she saw like it was like someone was selling them on TikTok. So she like tried to buy them. She bought them from it, and she actually got scammed because it was something that was not safe. So that's just like, so teens nowadays are more susceptible to things like this. So that's why we decided to like, because they're more online, so like they're more susceptible to attacks like this. Not even attacks, just like these attempts, like also for cheaper, or like I get these messages from my phone all the time, like Chipotle 50% off, like message me like this code or something. So that's why we decided to like focus more on.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Going off of two questions that were asked previously, just very quickly, jumping off of them. Commissioner Deshmukh brought up that you mentioned 2,700 plus students reached. That's a pretty big number. I'm wondering, beyond just being attendees in those workshops, what does the impact on these people look like, and what does the impact actually entail on these 2,700 people? What do they like leave with, things like that?
Well, I personally, I'll let also answer this question, but I would say, it's extremely helpful for them. Obviously, they're going into the future. It's not hard to remember the simple steps that we teach, and they will be making far stronger passwords than they ever made before. Like a lot of kids that we get in these programs will literally put their email as their name, put like 4 numbers at the end, and then all of a sudden it's their password with the 4 numbers like swapped around or something like that. So we're gonna basically they're gonna be having really strong passwords. They're gonna be really skilled in spotting out scams like the 50% off Chipotle or the free concert tickets or cheap concert tickets or whatever I've mentioned. I think it's very valuable and very easy for them to understand. I think it's definitely going to affect them and help them stay out of trouble online.
Yeah, like Pedro was saying, I think it's just like quick tips that can actually help a lot. If like we can easily explain these quick tips to someone that they'll make sure that like even if it's in the back of their mind, like when they're doing something, they'll remember that, like they'll have that in their mind, so they'll know like what to do and what not to do. So that's why I have it.
Thank you. And then, based off of Commissioner Kumar's previous question, where does the funding for this come from?
The company I was saying, this is simply decided to fund our following our programs.
Okay, so right now it's like a donor basically?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and are there any plans for how you're going to sustain funding or maybe increase it in the future, or?
I mean, I think a lot of our ambassadors are volunteers, but funding, if needed, will increase. I think right now we have more funding. But with the like, I guess the way this nonprofit is designed, we're gonna be branching out. The more we branch out, the more connections we have and the more size we gain. And with that comes a lot more opportunity for donation and a lot more opportunity for funding. So I wouldn't say we're necessarily worried about funding for now.
Okay, and I'll save my other questions for later, yeah.
So I feel like for our generation, people fall for them. But I feel like AI is becoming more prevalent, and many AI videos have been getting more listened. So if you have any plans to like AI safety, how to find out like if a video is AI.
Oh yeah, that's actually one of the things that pops up. But yeah, we actually talk about like AI, like you were saying. But like nowadays, like AI's gotten like so strong that you have like 5 seconds someone talking. You can have like you can make like a whole audio of them saying whatever you want them to say. Basically, talk about like we see like me myself. I see like so much like so many reels on Instagram. It's like fake stuff people are saying. It's like we basically tell them like not to like believe whatever you see online, and to make sure that whatever you see is like a credible source. That's some of the stuff we've also talked about. Sessions as well.
Recent scams have come up where people will utilize AI and AI videos to blackmail people. And that's a really valuable lesson that we're gonna be teaching. We're teaching kids how to avoid those and how to call the police and get help. Because those can be extremely like damaging to reputation and also a lot of people end up paying whatever people are trying to get out of you to avoid them from sending these AI videos to people that you know or your school. And then more on AI lesson scams. AI is also a really good tool, obviously. I'm sure we all have used a bit of AI for school or study notes or to make practice quizzes. And then also, hopefully, none of you guys have used AI to cheat on tests or anything, which is ethically wrong. But we will be going over all of those things, the wrongs and the rights of AI, in our workshops.
In the meantime, I'm sure the other commissioners will have some questions later. Sorry, I have a lot. I think this is a really interesting thing that you guys are doing. So,
Thank you.
one thing that we do look for is like the sustainability of the organization. So I'm wondering, how were the members on your executive board chosen? And how do you plan to choose more in the future, especially after these ones graduate, like you guys?
So I can probably answer that. So right now, most of our executive board is actually from St. Francis, because that's where our club was started at. But some of our other executive boards, like the one in India, like they were the ones that from our ambassador program, they showed like the most like interest, they showed this interest, they showed like the most dedication towards the program. And that's how they were chosen as the executive board. So for sustainability, I feel like as we give workshops, as like we're juniors, so next year we'll be graduating from colleges. So then as we graduate, our next line as like grade 50 is a sophomore in high school. So she will also be passing down her information to other students that will want to join our ambassador program. So that's how basically this is sustainable, because other students will also actively be joining and will be passed on. And also I just wanted to add, like, if you guys have like any like comments or anything like how we can improve like get more students like involved, like yes, I'm like we'd be happy to hear that. Yeah, thank you.
We'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
Good. It sounds like you're prioritizing like engagement in choosing your exec board, which sounds good to me. I'm wondering if there's like a formal application process right now, or maybe you're just not seeing like projected openings in the new year, but how does the cycle of executive members look like? Like, is it like a term limit, or is it just until they graduate?
I don't think we've really looked into that yet.
Yeah.
As like something new, we haven't really looked into like how we'll kind of pass it on, but I think that's something that we will look into, and probably will be some sort of application based on what they've done with YLCA and based on what the interest they have. Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, branching off of the chair's question. So, like, how exactly do you monitor this sustainability across the many different locations? Or like in general, how do you manage all of these different branches across the world?
So we have like a monthly meeting that we have with all these ambassadors, and they can talk about what they've done themselves at their schools. So if they, don't get me wrong, is that what we're asking, or?
Sorry, can you repeat what you said?
I was saying that we have like how we manage, like not manage, but like how we like try to help these ambassadors at their own schools, is that we have a monthly meeting where we talk about like what other ambassadors have done in the programs itself. And this basically gives them more ideas and stuff that they can use. Let me see how we try to help the ambassadors do it at their schools.
I see. Okay. And then also, in regards on how you could maybe like branch out more in Cupertino, we actually have something called the TICC. I honestly forgot what it stands for, but it's like a technology information like commission. So it focuses a lot on like the cybersecurity and like technology awareness within the city. So I think that's something that you could consider like getting help from as well.
Is that like something that's part of the schools, or is that like something that's not?
It's like an official commission of the city of Cupertino, like, you know, like teen commission,
Uh-huh.
like Parks and Rec, like it's one of the main committees in Cupertino, so I think that's a pretty good.
Yes, I didn't want to talk about it as well, because I got like pretty sensitive.
Are we on comments now, or?
I think if there's any more questions, we can keep going for questions for a little bit longer. I was really astounded by the fact that you all have such a sprawling global network. I think that's really really cool. So I want to ask some questions about the global impact, and then I want to like focus on like the impact, because that is what we're looking at here. So I noticed that there's a lot of cities in India that you are focusing on. Are there might be other cities as well. I'm wondering, is this curriculum available only in English, or how are you tailoring it to like the local needs of each place, because they seem to be very different, you know? Yeah.
I think the schools that we've talked to right now in India they have English. So I think most students there actually know English, so that's why all our presentations are in English. But yeah, I get what you're saying, like, it would be also impactful. It also would be great that we have these presentations in like a different language so that they can understand easier or something like that. So yeah, that's something we can.
I think we're very much planning on putting it into languages so that
Yeah.
we can reach out as much as possible.
Okay, that sounds great. And for so now focusing on like local impact, this is kind of an open-ended question. I just want to hear your thoughts on it. But what is how do Cupertino youth benefit specifically from this organization?
Well, again, I think Cupertino youth is going to be benefited just as much as any other youth anywhere would be benefited. By addressing the situation with current AI and future AI and addressing the situation with cybersecurity. Because as people advance and they get used to scams, there will also be advancing scams. You know, people will get caught up and people will be trapped into these scams and wouldn't expect what they'd be. So it almost saves the Cupertino youth and the future generations in Cupertino from these scams. And it also teaches them not to use AI in class, trouble like that, but to use it properly, like I kind of mentioned before. I'd say it's just the same as helping anyone else, but it is going to be very beneficial for Cupertino.
I also want to add that like living in Cupertino, like this is like the biggest like one of the biggest tech places in the world. So I want to say that like a lot of students here like they want to grow up and do tech jobs. So our program also like shows them what a tech job would look like in cybersecurity and AI. So that's just like that's why I feel like these teams would actually benefit a lot from this program because they would learn like right now like when we think of like cybersecurity like in like a field like as like recently like you don't think like you don't really sure like what it looks like but like that's why our program like our industry experts like they will come and talk to you and show you like, what this would look like and what you can do to help you in the future if you pursue this. But yeah.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay. If there are no more questions, I will open public comment on this item. Lindsay, do we have any speaker cards or hands?
We have no speakers, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, I will now close public comment. Any additional comments from the commission at this time?
Yeah, I was gonna mention, really cool that you have a global network. I think, my experience, an excellent way to find more people from other countries, not just, well, India and China for me specifically, but, we got a lot of Discord servers online with, a lot of ambitious students from across the world. It's a excellent place to find, what do you call them, ambassadors from other countries. So I could, I advise to check those out. It's a very good place for finding, cool people. For working with school districts, I assume another thing you want is to have such presentations, workshops in our schools. My experience working directly with school administrators is a very arduous process. I'd advise you to get into contact with school district officials. I'm good friends with the school board president. If you want, I can put you into contact with them.
I think like you're saying, do you think it's easier like we talk to students that would want to be interested or do you think we should talk to the school itself?
If you want it to be a school sponsored event, go straight to the district, and then districts are probably gonna do some vetting, curriculum, stuff like that, and then if you pass that, they'll probably let you set up workshops in schools. Like, in general, this is a type thing you probably start at the top, not the bottom.
Right. Do that, like Discord servers and stuff like, yeah, like you're saying, like, we'd only like have like we probably need to like look into other ways to get students from other countries that would be interested in, like that those Discord servers would be a good way to like look students that are actually passionate about this.
Yeah, we would love your help on that. Thank you for that.
Are there any additional comments? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Guys.
Maybe I can give you his.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Waiting too.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Should we do a text tone? I'd say we are probably 20 minutes out. 7:50, 8 o'clock.
Thank you guys. Thanks.
Are we? I feel like this might.
I don't think it'll take too long. Yeah. Why don't we go to the next agenda item? If you've already reviewed the minutes, you can go while everybody's reviewing the minutes. So I'll let you state the agenda
Okay, yeah,
item.
sure. Okay, next agenda item is the approval of minutes. The subject is approval of minutes, January 14, 2026. Recommended action is review and approve the minutes from the team commission on January 14th, 2026. Should have a copy of the minutes on your. Yes, you.
If you want to.
Well, is it better or wow?
Yes. Come back before the vote, right?
Yeah.
If everyone's done reviewing the minutes, we can, okay, are there any clarifying questions or amendments to the minutes? Okay, looks like there are none. I will now open public comment on this item. Lindsay, do we have any speaker cards or hands raised?
Get no speakers here.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, I'll now close public comment and invite a motion on the minutes. Okay, Vice Chair Liu, thank you.
Approve meeting minutes.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Liu, for the motion. Do we have a second for this motion? Okay, thank you, Commissioner Sue, for the second. Okay, maker of the motion is Vice Chair Liu, and the seconder is Commissioner Sue. Lindsay, could you please conduct a vote?
Commissioner Deschma,
Yes.
Commissioner Gao, Commissioner Halambi,
Yes.
Commissioner Kumar,
Yes.
Commissioner Lau is absent, Commissioner Prakash,
Yes.
Commissioner Sue, Vice Chair Liu, Chair Misra,
Yes.
the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you for the vote, Lindsay, and thank you, everyone. We will now move on to the next item of business on the agenda. There are no postponements, oral communications. Lindsay, are there any speakers?
We have no speakers.
Okay, in that case, I will close, or we don't need oral communications at this time. Okay, there is no old business, and we will move on to new business. The item number 6 is subject cybersecurity and AI Club for Teen Commission highlight program. Recommended action is discuss and evaluate cybersecurity and AI Club for Teen Commission youth-led organization highlight program.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to, before I go through the evaluation, just a reminder that they're a little bit outside of our regular YLO process. And so it's okay to have some flexibility on that with our usual criteria, because we are kind of piloting looking at this as a vetting process. So even if they don't meet all of our usual criteria to get the highlight, you could still recommend to staff, mainly Mr. Kaufman, that they might be a good organization to put together a workshop for the teens in some Korean major or not. So I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. We'll do a review of the application and consider them. And I won't remind you necessarily in detail of all the questions that we normally ask, because we do try to ask those in the application. Here's their contact. Art is one of the presenters for tonight. And it's just a youth-led initiative founded by Art and I think it was Henry that was here tonight. And their main goal is to make cybersecurity and AI education practical, relatable, and accessible for students. They've been in existence for 10 months. And their main goal is that they're running workshops. They're typically about an hour. As you can see, they're casting a wider net than Cupertino. I think we can all agree that they're maybe not going to have the Cupertino's specific target that we usually look for. So just keep that in mind. They did talk about an ambassador leadership program. And so that is something that is kind of a program within a program. Their topic is cybersecurity and AI, yet they also are implementing a leadership program within that organization. And within that leadership program, they have 50 ambassadors. They definitely are working with youth, 8th grade through 11th grade. And they are trying to train to backfill their roles when they graduate. They've expressed a long-term commitment to their organization past graduation as well. Okay, so we asked them what makes them unique, and that training aspect is what they really point to, that they are casting that wide net, and they're training people everywhere to kind of grow their organization. And again, they've got global reach already started. Another kind of unique aspect is that they already have connections to real industry mentorship, and within Microsoft and Visa, and I believe you said Google, that they had some real life mentors. So they're trying to get that structure to continue to be able to advance the organization. Why should we highlight them? They're asking for the visibility, but their primary ask is to try to bring free workshops. And that is something I'll just add in. It's something that when we kind of had like priority lists of topics for teen speaker series and potential workshops, this has been within that topic list. And so that's, we get asked a lot to partner with organizations, as staff. And, we simply can't do everything everybody suggests, because one, there'd be a lot of duplication. And two, not everybody's, actually ready or organized enough with their information to do stuff with us. And so, this organization has approached us with a lot of information where it's apparent that they have been running workshops because they've given us a lot of the information that we would normally ask for. And then that they're in the right topic area of something that we've had an interest in. Okay. And then they're just saying that it's also very relevant, which we've heard from teens as well, that it's a relevant topic that they would like to hear more on. Okay. And that's the end of the presentation. So again, you are considering them for a while highlight, which we can do, but again, a little bit outside of our regular process. But also interested in hearing from you if you feel that it would be an organization that, if a workshop were offered through our team program, if that would be worthwhile.
Thank you for the present, Anya. Now I'll open it up for any clarifying questions on the report and also just discussing what you're going to do. Again, you don't have to raise your hand, you can just jump in. I can start. Personally, I'm kind of on the fence about this. It seems to me that so they have been in existence for 10 months, which is relatively shorter. And I think it was also apparent that some of the details that we have historically, I guess, looked for in YLO highlights, they don't really have those completely figured out. Like the graduation thing, they don't have a executive board application or even term limits yet. And as they said, they don't need funding yet, but they also are kind of going off of the one donor they have. And also, as Sonia mentioned, they are very evidently casting a wider net. So I'm wondering what your positions are on how helpful and how appropriate it would be to give them a Cupertino YLO.
I think like the amount they've done already, I don't think 10 months is like 10 months of existence is really that important of a factor to look into, especially with the amount of outreach they've done. Like they're based in so many cities in India and the United States. Like but I guess if we could look at that, if we wanted to look at that, we could.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, sorry, yeah, continue.
So I feel like there is definitely like a very nuanced thing, but I think they can reach out globally. But I was honestly a bit concerned because when I asked them the question of like, hey, what is your outreach indicator? And also like based on what's your, it doesn't really seem that what they're doing requires that much to be done for it to expand internationally, as some of these other programs might require. And also I had like a couple of concerns in terms of how their slides were built. Like I don't want to talk about it too much right now, but feels like some of the work was not their own. Because I just want to say like off the sentence structure, there was some evidence of AI like on both the application and slides.
One thing I wanted to mention is especially how they're different from a lot of other organizations, because I know there's like a really big emphasis on cybersecurity actually in Cupertino. Like I'm sure a couple of you guys may have heard of Cyber for Youth. That's a pretty prominent thing. So like I think my biggest concern is how exactly are they differentiated from other organizations which are doing the same thing, if not more than them. So I think that's just one factor I was looking at.
I think that's a great point to bring up, because I actually wrote down on Cyber for Youth, like that they also have a cybersecurity focused youth for youth model. That is very evidently like Cupertino focused. Obviously, we don't have to compare like each applicant to past applicants, but you bring up a great point. I wonder what exactly it is that they are bringing that we haven't already seen and or highlighted. And also, sort of going back to Commissioner Deshmukh's point, I 100% agree with that. I do think there is a lot of merit to what you said, Commissioner Prakash, about their quantity of impact. They have reached a lot of these cities in India, which is, and beyond just like New Delhi, for example. And also clearly like a lot of counties and stuff in the Bay Area. But I do wonder if the quantity of impact is enough to outweigh the fact that the quality of impact might not seem extremely like uh mind blowing, I guess, because a lot of the times what I noticed was one of the big things they were repeating is password strength and two-factor authentication. And personally, to me, that doesn't seem like something that is like a very uh pressing issue that teens in this age, especially like teens, right, wouldn't know how to handle. I do think the thing about scams and like upcoming AI problems have a lot of area to cover, but I don't know if what they're doing is as you said, like a lot, you know?
Yeah, I'll agree on you on that too. Like, the digital safety stuff is good and all, but like, I don't know if we should be focusing on like 2FA and strong passwords, because most companies now, when you sign up for like this service, they already force you to like create a strong password and stuff. And the thing that got me the most is that they don't talk about like malware or viruses and stuff like that. Like, even now, they were talking about AI, but one of the most pressing issues about AI is that like now you can use AI to make like malware and stuff. And I was surprised that they weren't talking about like when like say somebody in the news like wants to download something and they download a suspicious file or something like that. Like I'm surprised to see them only focusing on like the passwords part of it.
Yeah, I really like Commissioner Prakash's point about how there's more like specific areas where of cybersecurity that needs to be focused on rather than general things. Because as like Chair Mishra said, like these sort of things like two-factor authentication, passwords, these are all like very basic level things. And then also like another thing that I was thinking about was what exactly was the actual impact on these like 2,700 people? Like, is it simply just awareness and like telling people these things? Or have there actually been like real impacts of people like being safer online? Is there any like metrics that they're measuring this growth rather than just like these numbers of like reaching out to these countries or like these cities or having this many people? I just like, I think it's just the actual like impact was a little bit unclear.
I guess like adding on to Commissioner Fukashi on this point, like there was not like based on what I was seeing in like the snapshots that they gave of we've actually done this compared to like there was a multitude of like cybersecurity things like AI use and things. I personally didn't see them discuss that much after first bringing it up. And honestly, I feel like they might have just used it as like, hey, these are all the things we could possibly do, not the things we've actually done in our webinar so far.
I totally agree, and I feel like that is the vibe I guess I kind of got from a lot of the things they were talking about. Like for example, the example about her or like his sister getting like scammed out of like money for tickets. I thought that was a great thing to do, right? That is like social engineering. But once we heard that one, anecdote, we never really heard about how they're actually remedying that. We heard about again, password and two-factor authentication. But even as you said, Commissioner Prakash, like malware, phishing, the things that they talked about were problems. To me, like you brought up, it was unclear what they were actually doing to address those big issues. It seems like the they're going for solving problems that are not as, or I'm sure they're prevalent, but they might not be as difficult to solve. And perhaps that's why they have been focusing on that, especially as a newer organization, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just wondering if their magnitude of impact is what we think about it.
That's what I'm worried about. Like, I'm worried about like what's actually in the content of those workshops and stuff. Like when I asked them what live demos and stuff do you do, they kind of like I don't remember exactly, but I remember they just talked about like just digital like digital privacy and stuff like that. like, I was thinking more like test demos of like, you know, what would happen if you did enter your password into like a malicious site or something, but they didn't seem to like want to get into the details of that, or didn't have any details.
But I do feel like we just kind of come to like how much we can like the while would like help them. Like right now, it's just like an Instagram post. I do think that since they're like a new organization, they're still trying to find like what they're trying to do, like how they're trying to like go across that. I feel like posting Instagram posts might help them get like a lot of community people more involved with that.
Um, I agree with Commissioner Sue. I do think that, like, I like their mission program. I'm just not sure if they're like doing it efficiently right now. And maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe they just need a little more outreach, but like currently, I don't think that like they're doing everything that to do.
Another thing I wanted to add on was that their primary goal was to like have more workshops here in Cupertino. I'm not sure if that really aligns with what the YLO does, because if they want more workshops, they could Commissioner Liu was saying as a comment, they should probably actually contact the schools or the school district themselves in order to set up those workshops. And I don't know how much the YLO itself would actually do for the workshops.
I think you bring up a great point, Commissioner Sue, that of course, you know, given that this is a new organization and clearly getting the word out about it is like very important to them. Like the advertisement, I guess, or the getting the word out through the YLO would help. But as they mentioned on the presentation that Sonia shared themselves, they are looking for the YLO for getting the word out and also credibility. And as you brought up, and as we have been discussing, I'm not sure if we should be awarding that credibility to an organization that clearly has a lot more to clear up or clearly communicate. In my opinion, yeah, and I also do think that there's ways for us because we like clearly think that their mission and what they're doing is great. As Commissioner Gao said, there are ways for us to make sure that they're doing more workshops, as is clearly their goal, without awarding them a YLO necessarily. So just want to make sure you guys are considering that in your like deliberation, that we don't have to give them a YLO to support this mission.
I have just one more question. It's just about the YLO itself. Like, do we have any updates on how like like we were discussing like last how we could change the YLO? Do we have any updates?
That's a great question. I meant to actually let you know, I will have that as part of my update. So yes, we do have some updates
Okay.
For now, though, we're like deliberating it as we have
as a
been.
current, within the current system. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for clearing that up. Okay. So what are our thoughts after this discussion? What do we think?
Well, probably I would say,
Call for a vote now, or?
well, unless there's more questions, and I open public comment and
Mhm.
then final comments and go to a vote, and especially to kind of keep us on track this one.
Okay. Are there any additional questions or comments right now? Okay. No more questions. I'll now open public comment on this item. Lindsay, do we have any speaker cards or hands raised?
Have no speakers.
Thank you.
All comments.
Yeah. Any final comments from the commission? Okay. By the way, I will close public, seeing no speakers. Yeah, no additional comments from anyone right now? Okay. Okay, now I'd like to entertain a motion to grant the YLO to this organization. Are there any, does anyone want to call for a motion?
Okay, motion to grant YLO.
Okay. Commissioner Kumar, thank you for the motion. Do we have a seconder for this motion?
I second.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Gao, for the second. For minutes, The maker of the motion was Commissioner Kumar and the seconder was Commissioner Gao. Okay, Lindsay, would you please conduct a vote?
And we just be clear, the motion is for saying yes to YLO. So if you vote yes, you're saying yes to YLO. If you say no, no to the YLO. Sorry.
Commissioner Deshman,
Now,
Commissioner Gao. Commissioner Halambi.
Yeah.
Commissioner Kumar. Homerton? No. Commissioner Lau is absent. Commissioner Prakash. Commissioner Stu. Vice Chair Liu.
Yes.
Chair Misra.
No.
The motion fails with Commissioner Stu and Commissioner Liu voting yes.
Could I ask before we close that item completely, if I could just get a show of hands on if you feel it may be valuable to continue to consider them as part of a workshop if they were to show that they had good criteria. So just to give that feedback to staff. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will move on to the next item of business on our agenda. We have staff and commission reports. Did you want me to move the Yeah, okay. Handing it over to Sonia.
I'll try to make this quick. So from Mr. Kaufman, I have the upcoming speaker opportunities and we've Mr. Kaufman actually was able to get in touch with everybody who was interested in working certain events. So for Big Benny, for the MCs, we actually are going to request that Chair Misra continue this year, and because we like the idea of having a person that's done it 1 year and then sort of in training for the next year. And then Commissioner Halambi, we'd like to be the co-host. And if you're available and able to do that, great. And then Commissioner Sue for Benny, much loved in that position. And if you could each just go ahead and confirm that you're available with Mr. Hoffman tomorrow by email, that'd be great. Okay, and then Teen Resource Fair, it seemed that I think everybody is on this list, but there's 3 shifts. And so I'm just gonna see show of hands for first shift 11:45 to 1:15. If you have a particular, I can't promise you, but I'm just gonna get that and Mr. Kaufman will plug you in. So the 11:45 to 1:15 shift.
Is this Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday, March 21st. Okay, so everybody.
Please repeat the time again.
11:45 to 1:15. So it looks like everybody's interested in the early shift. Shift 2 is 1 to 2:15. Is there? Okay, is it so? Commissioner or Vice Chair Lou, you don't, okay. Easier to go that way. Anybody else that didn't want to do that? No,
I want to do the second shift. So,
okay.
Also, yeah.
Commissioner Gao, I don't have you down
Yeah.
for the day, right? Is that correct?
Mhm.
Not available, okay. Okay. And then no's. Okay, and then the last shift, 2 to 3:15. Is there anybody that absolutely can't do that shift? Is probably how I should be phrasing this. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna have him plug you in.
Wait, I might be locked out of my account, but so for confirming, is it okay if I confirm it? If I like it is. Cause I changed my password, but then
You're locked out of your city account? Okay, all right, then, after, can you please see me and I will give you the contact for somebody to help you to connect with IT. Okay,
Oh, I just have a quick question. Regarding like all the events, I don't think I got an email from Kaufman after the meeting on January. So I don't know if that was,
I think we took it at the meeting.
oh, just like, this is just interest. like-
Yeah, sorry if I said that. Heard it at the meeting. Yeah. Because he did not have the issue going. Okay. Make sure you connect back and then you'll hear from Mr. Kaufman. Okay, my only last thing, we're actually very close, is the response to the YLO highlight program, the feedback. I just want to thank you very much for making the feedback, and letting us know what's important to you for youth-led organizations. We definitely heard that formal recognition, for the YLOs is very important. We heard that making, the selection, more than just an Instagram highlight, possibly having a tiered approach based on, the actual organization to be able to make it a little bit more selective. We met with the marketing coordinator and he is open to some scripted videos. We've not had any videos on Instagram. He's open to some scripted videos with teens. However, we're going to start that kind of pilot with our marketing coordinator, with our city teen programs. And we're looking at changes to the YLO highlight program that would start in the new term. So for next year. We anticipate that we could have a video highlight, be a next level option for, the program for next year. And then also, because we heard that a formal certificate is very important, we can't really speak to that for at a council level because we change actual mayor, so, every year. And so, but we can commit to that at a department level. So the thought is that we could have a formal certificate signed by our director of Parks and Recreation. And possibly look at having that be like the last meeting. You choose your final person and you could present at the meeting as part of the meeting. And maybe take a picture with the teen commission as well and the certificate. So we'll look at like implementing some of those things. The wheels of change go slow. So and it's kind of hard to change the program mid-year, but we will look for that for next year to start in the new term in September. So that's the update on that. That's all I've got.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Any questions or comments by the commission?
I have one question, about the videos, like, are they still gonna be like posted on Instagram or?
They would be on Instagram, yeah.
So it's still gonna be like a Instagram highlight kind of thing?
It would be a next level highlight. So rather than just a write-up, it would be like a video. Possibly we could look at that the teen commissioners actually help to create the video to highlight. Yeah.
Are you recently official city Cupertino like Instagram account or will you create a new account for teen commission?
We won't be creating a new account for teen commission. That's a firm no. We're even working on having even the potential for something beyond the citywide one. So, but right now it's citywide.
One more question, just like, just a way to like increase the outreach, is it like possible to like put the highlight on, I don't know, something like the Cupertino Library, like TVs, like, right? Cause like many people go there to like study or something, they might walk by and see it.
The library, no, because the library is a county program, it's not a city program, but the Scala screens that are within like our building and I believe at City Hall, possibly.
Okay.
But that's a great additional feedback.
Great idea, actually. They're always playing things about like what's been happening at the city hall TVs and stuff. Just a very quick question. I wanted to ask if there were any methods or like ways we could talk about the council level certificate change. Should I just talk to you about that later on or make that like a future agenda thing?
I don't think a future agenda because we really looked into it. I spoke with my director and it's not something that we want to pursue right now. Cause again, we could make an agreement with, and we would start the program in September with your term, then the mayor change about. And so it's difficult for us again to commit a program for our council when our council is kind of constantly changing. So
Okay, got it. Thank you. Is there any public comment for this? Alright.
nope, just updates.
Okay. Okay, moving, if there are no final comments or questions, we can move on to the next item, which is future agenda setting. Do we have any proposals to add a future agenda item? Okay, seeing none, now we can go to the adjournment. Our meeting is now coming to an end. I want to thank everyone for coming to tonight's meeting and being so patient. Our next team commission meeting will be on Wednesday, March 11th at 6 p.m. right here, as always. And I now adjourn the meeting at 8:06.